back to focusing on our own markets. By the way, just take a look at the stock price of PVR. It's again tumbled close to about 3%. It was under pressure even yesterday. On Monday to Wednesday, there was a recovery in the stock price of PVR owing to the box office collections that, Brahmastra was reporting. But in the last 2 days, the stock price has tumbled. Pull up a 2-week chart and you would see now the stock is trading well below what it was even, just a couple of days back. But we're now joined by Abneesh Roy of Edelweiss Securities to talk about the way forward for the multiplex industry. Abneesh, morning, and thanks so much for joining in. First, wanted to get your thoughts in. There is going to be a new player in the multiplex space. Could you tell us a little bit more about it and what will be the impact on competition? What are their plans?
Yeah, sure. Thanks. So definitely multiplex stocks had gone up in the last few days because of Brahmastra surprise being there. But after that, the block deal has happened. And now the next big event, of course, will be at the end of the month when Vikram Vedha releases and then PS1 also releases. Yes, today we have come out with an update on the new player who has entered the multiplex industry. So yes, it is a player who needs to be watched clearly because Ajay Devgan understands the movie industry quite well. He's the guy who is behind that. Of course, he has hired a very good team also. And currently, they are setting up multiple cinema theaters across the country. And already they have 19 screens. So this again shows that just because PVR Inox are merging, it doesn't mean the competition ends. So there will be more such players. If you remember, Kanakya Group has also re-entered. So they took back their screens from PVR and they have also re-entered. But the point here is this is not an easy industry. That's why if you see 7-8 years back, there were multiple players, 6-7 players. Now you would have just one very strong PVR Inox and then a poor number 2 Cinepolis. And the number 3 player, Carnival, is going through its own debt concerns. So yes, new players are coming. So PVR Inox will have to watch out. But it's a tough industry in terms of cash flow because PVR Inox are listed. So for them already they are profitable. It is much easier to expand. So they'll be adding 200 screens per year. But for new players, it's going to be quite tough. But yes, always good to have competition for the customer also. And this will be a healthy competition in my view.
So for the stock, particularly on PVR, is the risk reward still favorable according to you for a long-term investor? I mean, the 52-week high was about 2,200. So we're still a bit away from that. What are your thoughts on the stock?
Yes, I think Brahmastra has clearly shown that Indian customer has not left the box office. So if the content is good, of course, in Brahmastra, the reviews were quite mixed, but at least the content was differentiated. Plus, marketing was extremely strong. Hats off to them for that. And definitely, if you see the World Cinema Day, National Cinema Day has also been postponed from 16 September to 23rd. This again shows the confidence which the industry has of getting good footfalls in Brahmastra and getting a good price also for that. But yes, next big event will be at the end of the month. So there is no tearing hurry because first 2 months in Q2 has been weak. Street will be cutting estimate for the full year and Q2 also because only one good movie has been there for the full quarter. So yes, near term, it's not very strong in terms of risk reward. But my sense is at the end of the month, we'll have Vikram Vedha, we'll have PS1 and then festive season kicks in. We are positive on the festive consumption because this is the first year when COVID as such is not much of a concern. So we do see footfalls coming back because content pipeline is strong.
Abneesh, you were just mentioning the National Cinema Day. There was quite some protest on social media when they initially decided to postpone that. I mean, of course, to cash in on Brahmastra and get one more weekend's worth of collections. But, since we have you with us, I also want to throw in some questions on the FMCG space. We had the HUL analyst meet. And once again, the management continues to sound they're not sounding too positive at all. So they're saying demand remains weak. Margins are still under pressure. How do you really see H2 shaping up? And when do you think we can see some respite on the margin front?
Sure. We, in fact, released a note on consumer demand in the rural India. Absolutely, in Q2, there is nothing to celebrate from a demand recovery in the FMCG for most of the companies. On a 3-year basis, the volume growth for most companies will be fairly similar to Q1. Yes, in terms of the macro factors for rural, it seems to be improving in terms of good monsoon. The diesel and the fertilizer prices have also come down. But issue is UP, Bihar, Bengal. Currently, there's a deficit in rainfall. So overall, I think H2, the recovery will be there for rural demand. but currently it seems to be more of a base effect because base becomes favorable. Margins clearly is the more positive factor. I do expect for most companies 100 to 200 bips gross margin expansion in H2 versus H1. Hindustan Unilever, Britannia, Godrej Consumer, Nestle, and Asian Paints and Pidilite. These 5-6 companies will be in the top tier in terms of margin expansion. Rest of the companies also will see some benefit, but those will be on the lower side.
All right. Thank you very much, Abneesh, for joining in and sharing your views on the multiplex industry as well as on HUL. Get into a break on that note. We'll discuss market technicals.